How far back can you remember? Like, what's the first memory that pops in your head when you take a trip down memory lane? There's a bunch, right? Was it the first time you went to a park or spent time with your dad? Maybe it was even the time you caught a bunch of fish or had your first ice cream. It could even be some time when you roughhoused with your friends, or the time you went to the beach for the very first time. Maybe even the first time you rode your bike. For me, some of my best and some of my worst childhood memories are from the road trips my family used to take. Every summer, it was someplace new. I guess it was my parents' way of teaching us about our country. Americans have a long love affair with the open road. It's a direct representation of what our idea of freedom is. We hop in our cars and we take off on an adventure with the whole family. Only limitation is how much gas you want to buy. With everything that's happened with the pandemic last year, many of us were itching for that feeling, getting out into the world, you know? And the only safe way to do that was to see sights from the safety of our own car. So, my family took to the open road without a real plan in place, a road trip at its most purest form. My biggest worry was my kids wouldn't have any major payoff, no big finale of the trip. We just went for a drive and it took us across a couple of our nation's great states. It brought us to ancient sites and put us face to face with our country's rich history. I watched as our kids built memories that they'll never forget. A simple act of standing witness to sites that have been in the making for thousands of years. They enjoyed each other as we trekked across the interstates to the freeways. They laughed and they played and enjoyed the open air and freedom. I couldn't believe how much fun we were having by just taking a road trip, just driving around and seeing the sights, hanging out with our loved ones, being around everybody, and just living in the moment. The things we saw, the experiences we had, absolutely amazing. All of my worries, all of my concerns about the kids not seeing something, expensive or amazing or a Disneyland trip or anything like that, that all went away as we traveled. That all faded into the background because we had this. We had the open road. We had each other. We had our experiences. We stayed at a hotel out in Arizona that was completely empty for the most part. It was just us. And the kids got to explore. They got to see animals. They got to see the wilderness. They got to do things that they normally wouldn't do. My daughters and my nephews, they got to hang out and connect and just enjoy each other's company. And it was amazing. It was beautiful to see them do that. I just sat there and watched and got all choked up because it was such a fun time, just fishing and being out in the open. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Now that I'm looking back on this trip, I know that no matter what we do or where we go, as long as we're together, we're gonna have a good time. Being out in nature and just living and breathing the fresh air is something that inexplicably changes you and makes you realize just how amazing our world is. It even snowed during the trip. And that didn't put a hinder on anything. It just made the trip even more special. Because that's what they're gonna remember. Not some amazing destination, not the trinkets they bought while they were shopping. It's the relationships, the shared story of going on an adventure together. They're gonna remember the love. It solidified in me the thought that the journey is our reason for being. It's why we're all put on this earth, And sometimes we forget. We rush and we race towards our goals, trying desperately to achieve what we perceive to be the end game. But that's the thing. My kids, you, me, every human being on this planet, we look back on our lives and think of only what we did to get to that moment. The lessons we learned and the experiences we shared with loved ones. That's what they'll remember.